All right, Brown. I haven't got the notification on my phone yet, but I think we're live. But before, I guess we can, Game 7 tonight. That's a pretty big deal too, right?
Yeah, go Astros, man.
No. You got to rep California.
Come on. You know McCullers just going to get it done, man.
All right, we are live here on Facebook. It's November 1st. It's time for the release of our top 25 early contenders for basketball. I'm in the house, Zack Poff, with Chris Brown. We'll bring in our basketball guy, Lynden, here in a sec. CB, you excited for hoop season, though?
Yeah, I am, man. I'm excited for my I'm coming off an ACL tear. It's been a while since my live show, so I'm happy to be back, man.
You're back, man.
I'm ready to hit the hardwood.
And you saw my guy, Lynden, last week. He's in charge of our basketball ranking, so we're going to bring him in right now. We're going to jump to it. Lynden, who is the #1 team in high school basketball, baby?
Memphis East out of Tennessee. It was a tough choice between them and Montverde Academy, but I rolled with Memphis East. I think they have the best front line in America. I think they've got the deepest junior class. They returned 3 of their starters, and 2 of the starters that they lost, they replaced with the #1 junior in the country, and Ryan Boyce, a UAB commit, which is a top 200 kid. Penny Hardaway's been on a roll. They're the 2-time defending state champs. And then you got to figure next year they're going to be pretty good as well. But I just like what I'm seeing out of them and the pieces they have in place. Their starting 5 can compete with anybody. They're playing one of the toughest schedules in the country. They're playing everybody. They're not ducking anyone. So this is a tough team to beat this year.
Yeah, Zach, it'll be really exciting to see how it plays out for Penny and what he can do with that squad this year.
Yeah, and as Lynden said, man, they got a lot of boys coming back. They got some studs on that team. I mean, I would have put him #1 if I was in charge of hoops too. So
absolutely.
And you get a look at this guy right here. He's a bad boy, Mr. Chandler Lawson.
Yeah, he's a returner, one of the leaders on that squad. Can't wait to watch this kid, how he develops and what they can do there. I think we both, along with Lynden, expect obviously a really good season from the boys out in Memphis East.
Yeah.
So it'll be awesome. Lynden, moving on down the list, you mentioned him a minute ago. Talk to me about Montverde Academy, a school that has produced the likes of Ben Simmons, guys like D'Angelo Russell. Who's the guy on Montverde this year that could be the next great?
RJ Barrett. He's the #1 player in the country overall. We saw what he did with Team Canada last year. He was the MaxPreps Sophomore Player of the Year. As I said last week, I think he's the most complete and pro-ready player right now in high school basketball. I've seen him in person live. He's one of the best I've ever seen live at the high school level. He's just so natural and smooth. And I think he's going to put up ridiculous numbers this year and be a leader. They have the most stacked lineup in the country, in my opinion, top to bottom. They got 3 top 100 seniors, 3 top 100 juniors. They have high-profile transfers. Kevin Boyle at the helm. He's one of the best coaches in the country. And they're playing everybody. I like what I'm seeing out of Montverde. The reason I roll with Memphis East is because they beat them twice last year, and they improved their lineup. But Memphis East definitely has the best lineup in the country, and RJ Barrett is the #1 overall player. You mix that all together, and they're another team that's going to be really tough to beat.
Yeah, RJ Barrett's a guy I see being a name to just tuck in your back pocket. He's going to be balling in the NBA here shortly.
Absolutely.
Now, Lynden, people on Facebook Live are asking, hey, Mater Day should be #1 in football and #1 in basketball. Where do the Monarchs start the season out in your top 25, though?
Monarchs start at #3, and I want to give a quick shout out to Zack Poff for picking Mater Day #1 at football at the beginning of the year.
That's easy money, dog.
All those football fans need to follow Zack Poff. So Mater Day at 3. Obviously, I talked to Coach Gary McKnight. He's a legend. He said this is one of the best teams he's ever had. You have a 5-star top 3 player in the country in Bull who owns the paint on both sides of the floor. You've got arguably the best passer in basketball. It's Spencer Friedman. I love that inside-outside combo. Then you throw in a high-profile transfer and 4-star PJ Fuller from Nathan Hale on the wing. And then you have shooters around Spencer Friedman that he can pass the ball to. All of a sudden, you've got pieces all around the court. You've got shooters, you've got inside, you've got passing, and oh, by the way, they've got 3 or 4 guys on the bench that are above 6'9". So this is going to be a real tough team to match up against, and they're playing one of their toughest schedules they've ever had in program history. Gary McKnight told me he wants to play everybody. He wants to get them ready for the California state tournament. He's really thinking about that, and he wants that this year real bad. So this team at Mater Dei is a team that I really, really like out of California.
And last year, too, I mean, Bowl came in late.
Sure.
So this year they're going to get Bowl the entire season. And, you know, Bishop Montgomery, a team that beat Mater Dei twice in the section playoffs and in the state playoffs, they lost a lot of guys. You know, Mr. Thompson was a bad boy. He's up at Oregon State now. I think Mater Dei, this is, I don't know if I would go as far as Gary McKnight saying
I was going to say, if McKnight's talking about this being one of the best teams ever,
Stanley
and they
Johnson
had
teams were nice.
a 4-year run with Stanley where they won 4 straight state titles. I mean, there's a lot of talent that's came through the Mater Dei program. Lynden, real quick before we move on from Mater Dei, can you just dish a little bit on Bowl? Obviously the son of Manute Bowl, but it seems like a guy whose stock has risen a lot over the summer as people have seen him more. I guess obviously huge at 7'3", but what do you think he brings that's going to possibly take Mater Dei to the next level?
Well, I think it's his defensive presence down low. I think he's the best defensive interior player in high school basketball. He owns the paint. He swats everything. You think a guy has a layup, he just comes out of nowhere and sends it to the seats. He's just such an imposing force down there. He's choosing between Oregon and Kentucky. He should be deciding soon. I think he's really improved on his offensive game as well. He's developed a jump shot. He's really tough to stop down low. He has really great hands for his size. But I think the main thing is his defensive presence down there and add in the rebounding factor. I just think he's the best interior player in high school basketball. So I think that's probably the main reason. And I think he's one more thing about him. I think he's really improved his game since he came from Bishop Miege out in Kansas. He's really he was kind of a raw talent, and now he's kind of molding into something.
Yeah, and you know, real quick, you know, I got to ask you, any chance, is Chino Hills close to the map? Because I want to stick in SoCal just real quick. We know LaMelo Ball's not playing. How much that hurt the Huskies down there in the IE, though?
Oh, big time. I mean, I had them in my top 25, and before LaMelo Ball obviously was going to be homeschooled. So when I found that out, I just feel like they lost their main distributor and a lot of their top scorer, their top assist guy, the guy who makes everything happen. I mean, a lot of Okongu's points came from LaMelo Ball making it happen. So I just think that really hurt them. And they've done okay in the summer league. But when you lose a guy like LaMelo Ball, man, it's tough to replace that. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lynden, we covered the top 3 teams, Memphis East, Montverde, and Mater Dei. Talk to me about the 2 teams that round out the top 5.
Oh, Hudson Catholic is another team that I really like out of New Jersey. They returned 9 of their 10 core players. And actually, their last 16 games of the season, they returned all 5 starters from those 16 games. So this is a very experienced team. It's been together for a while. Nick Marianello is a really good quality head coach, veteran guy, runs great sets, great system. They play in arguably the toughest league in the country. I think New Jersey probably will have the toughest league in the country this year. But obviously when you have 3 top 75 seniors, all those guys are guards. They're all Division I commits. They play really well together. They played at the City of Palms last year, so you know that they're a tested team. I just like what they bring to the table, what they bring back. So that's a team that I really think is kind of outside the radar, that I think could have an outside shot at a national title as well.
Yeah, and if we could, Michelle, let's pull up the top 25 real quick. And you see Oak Hill there rounds out the top 5. Lynden, I got to ask you, man, I told you pick one team in the teens, but you want to throw out a few. I know there's one in Missouri you want to touch on first, though.
Yeah, Webster Groves. That's a team out of Missouri that had a big-time winning streak last year. They dominated down the stretch, won over a 20-game win streak. I think they might have the best 1-2 punch in high school basketball, and Courtney Ramey and Cartier Gordon, St. Louis commit, 2 top 50 players. They both averaged 19 a game last year. And then you throw in a transfer in Amari Womack, who averaged 18 a game last year. Now you have 3 guys combining for almost 60. That's pretty tough to stop. So I really like their schedule this year as well. They've probably maybe their toughest schedule in school history. playing everybody, but I really like that inside-outside combo because they both can score. So who do you defend? How do you stop that? Want to go back real quick to Oak Hill. Sorry to go back, but I missed them. Number 5 team. They have 5 seniors in the top 300. They've got a lot of talent. They're going to play everybody. Steve Smith, obviously one of the best coaches of all time. But those 2 teams are really quality teams, and they could move up in the rankings at any point in the season.
Yeah, going back to the teams real quick, Lynden, Georgia, Texas, typically really powerful football states. We got a couple really good basketball squads this year.
CB, let's be real. I know you're a big Austin Westlake guy because of Sam Ellinger and the Ellinger family. They're pretty good at hoops too, though, right?
They are. Lynden, talk to me about Westlake from Austin.
Westlake, they have one of the best front lines in the country as well. They have 3 guys over 6'10", 6'7", all top 100 kids. It's one of the, like I mentioned, one of the best front lines in the country. They also have 4 Division I guys on their roster. Their point guards committed to Xavier. So this is a team that has a lot of height. They've got star power. They're playing a lot of people this year. I think they're the 2nd best team in Texas behind Cypress Falls. But this is a team that has a lot of size that can really make some noise. Another team, as you mentioned, in Georgia is McEachern. This team practically returns their whole starting 5. They returned 4 of them, and the one that they lost, they replaced with Jared Jones, a transfer from Pebblebrook, who's a 4-star kid. And so they won 28 games last year. They only lost in the state semifinals. They're playing a national schedule. This is a team that's very tough and that has proven that they can come back from 20-point deficits at any time. So they're a proven team. They're tough. They're tested, and they return most of their lineup. So that's a team that I would not want to face at any time.
Absolutely, man. Hey, Michelle, if you can, one more time, can you give us the rankings? Lynden, we covered the teens. Let's talk a little bit about the back half of the rankings now, 20 through 25. I'm intrigued by number 25, Garfield. Obviously, head coach Brandon Roy coming over from defending national champions Nathan Hale, back to his alma mater, now the head coach at Garfield. Talk to me about Garfield and what you expect from them.
Oh, they're one of the most talented teams in the country. They have 7 kids that are ranked on their roster, which is one of the most in the country, as I mentioned. So they've got a lot of, star power. And then you have a guy like Brandon Roy going back to his alma mater, who won a national title last year. So you have a coach who won a national title. You've got a bunch of ranked kids. You've got a tough team that likes to play everyone. That's been a proven state power in that state of Washington. So, I mean, it was just too much for me to ignore. I had to include them because of how much they have and the Brandon Roy factor. So that's pretty much what I got for them.
Yeah, Lynden, real quick, you talked about the Brandon Roy factor. I think a lot of people maybe last year didn't give Roy the credit as much because he had the Porter brothers, obviously now at Missouri, and probably going to be in the NBA here shortly after that. But you mentioned the Brandon Roy factor. Can you expand just a little bit maybe on that and what you think about him as a coach and what he brings to a school?
Well, he's a great coach. Anytime, even if you have a lot of talent, you still have to make that talent work together and be unselfish and make it work. They didn't lose a game last year. So, you know, he was a proven guy. He won big national games. And now you're coming to a team like Garfield that has a lot of talent around there. So you have a guy who's been a proven winner with a lot of talent who plays people. I mean, I like what I see out of Brandon Roy. He's been proven to turn teams around because when he got to Nathan Hale, I think they only won 2 or 3 games the year before. One of the best turnarounds we've seen in recent memory. That doesn't just happen because you have talent. Again, you have to make that talent work and be unselfish.
Yeah, Lynden, you're out in Florida, man, and my guy Vernon Carey's a bad boy. Talk about university and what they bring to the table this year.
Number 1 overall junior in the country in Vernon Carey. This is a team that got 3 Division I transfers. Top 10 player in his class, Scotty Barnes down low, great 1-2 punch, 6'10", 6'9" coming at you. And then you got 2 guards in the wing, and New Mexico commit, Drew Drennan, who came over from Georgia. And then you have another top 200 kid in Trey Dooms, who came from Georgia, I think, as well. And 3 of those guys played in the same AAU team, Nike Team Florida. This is a team that's playing a lot of people, and I think a lot of people are going to be giving me, might be arguing with me on that they're too low. But I mean, they've got to prove it to me first. I mean, they got a lot of talent, one of the most talented teams in the country, but they've yet to make the state semifinals in 2 years. So let's see if they can prove it. Let's see if they can win those big-time games this year.
And the big opportunity for teams to prove it will be at what tournament this year? What's going to be the #1 tournament on Lynden's book?
City of Palms Classic, baby. We got 3 teams in the top 4, which is pretty incredible. We've got 4 teams in the top 10, and we've got 9 in our top 25.
Wow.
So if you do that tournament, you're sitting pretty. I mean, let's go through here. Memphis East, number 1. Modern Day, number 3. Hudson Catholic, number 4. Wesleyan Christian, number 10. Then you have 5 other teams. I mean, this tournament is loaded. One of the best in recent memory that they've produced. So I'm really, really excited to see that tournament and who comes out of that.
Yeah, that could also obviously have huge implications on the rankings. Yeah. Definitely some shuffle after the conclusion of that tournament. Lynden, last thing before we get you out of here. Lots of storylines, big day here. We drop our top 25. Give me the #1 storyline on Lynden's head headed into the basketball season here.
I think that one's pretty easy. It's Memphis East and Montverde. We're running into a scenario where they might not play this year, and we might run into a scenario where they both might be undefeated. I would love to see them play, but I think the question on everyone's mind is, you know, who's #1 between those 2 teams? Who's gonna be the top team at the end of the year? That's been most of the preseason chatter. I would love to see them play. I hope that Memphis East will be allowed to go to Dick's. So I think that's the main storyline. Because, you know, Modern Day is going to play Memphis East. A lot of the Hudson Catholic's going to be in that tournament. Most of those top-level teams are going to play Memphis East. Montverde's the only one that's not playing them. And me as a high school sports journalist and also as a fan, I want to see the best top 2 teams play each other. I hate when I don't see them play each other and we have to wonder what if. I don't like what if. I want it to be decided on the court. So I want them to play, and I can't wait. And as Poff says, get your popcorn ready.
I'll be getting my popcorn ready tonight for Game 7. Who you taking before we get out of here, bro?
Dodgers, man. I think they've got the momentum. They're at home. I hope Kershaw comes out and pitches, and I hope we see Vin Scully throughout the pitch or in the booth. I think the Dodgers got the vibe right now, and they're at home. And for them to beat Justin Verlander last night, that really impressed me. So I'm taking the Dodgers.
I'll tell you what, my #1 storyline for the basketball season is how many hot takes we get from Lynden on live every single time.
Infinity.
So I'm going to get my popcorn ready for Lynden on live is what I'm going to do.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Lynden, real quick, give me a percentage. What are the chances Modern Day finishes #1 in football and #1 in basketball?
Whoa.
They've got a good chance. You go undefeated and you win the City of Palms and beat Memphis East. Oof.
And
boy, hey, I'll go 40. How about 40%?
Whoa, that's higher than I thought. I mean, and even football, it's hard for them to, you know, that's going to be a tough playoff bracket to get through. It's going to be the same thing in the section playoffs and then in the state playoffs in basketball too. So if they both ran the deck, that'd be pretty impressive.
Well, I say 40 because they have a chance to play the 2 teams, 1 or 2 teams above them. In football, Modern Day and IMG can't play. You know what I mean? So at least they have an opportunity to play them.
Per usual, leave the comments in the video. Our boy Lynden will get back to you. Let him hear it, man. Twitter, Facebook, whatever. If you think someone he missed, I don't think he did.
I hear it all the time in football, so get at this guy.
Let him know, man. He'll get back to you.
Popp's football rankings. He's the best. He's the GOAT.
All right, baby. Lynden, thanks for jumping on, my man.
Thank you, guys.
That's all the time we got. That's Chris Brown in the building. I'm Zack, Poff here on MaxPreps.com.